Thank you for staying with us. The wait is finally over for members of the National Youth Service Corps as the federal government begins the payment of an increased allowance of 77,000 naira. This was confirmed when several Corps members took to social media to celebrate credit alerts reflecting the revised stipend. The moment of relief is coming after the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, promised that the new monthly allowance will be implemented starting in March 2025. The Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, also assured that the backlog of the newly monthly allowance will be paid. Recall that the federal government had earlier announced the new allowance in September 2024, which was said to be in line with the National Minimum Wage Amendment Act 2024. Well, joining us for this conversation is Senior Technical Advisor to the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, Dr. Obinna Ebirim. Good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here today.
Great. Finally, the federal government has fulfilled its promise of the revised wage for the National Youth Service Corps. But there are questions as to why it took so long for this implementation. There was no communication while people were waiting, and these young persons began to take to social media to make complaints, and then we are seeing the monies. Was government pressured into making the payment?
So, no, I would say no. First of all, it's important to start by thanking our father, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for first of all making the promise, but also for being a president who follows rule of law and is keen about sustainability. And why I'm saying this is that it speaks to why we had to wait. That wait was because it had to be appropriated into the budget, and then also we had to follow the process. And that is what the Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, had kept explaining. But as we know, with something of this nature, with such an increase that is over 100%, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of expectation. So it's understandable. We understand why people were clamoring and agitated. But I think that it's important to know that this waited this long because we had to follow a legal process that allows for sustainability. It's easy for the president to just earmark a simple fund and give, but then does it ensure sustainability? When it's added to the budget, it means that year after year, that money is there for our youth corpers. So I think that it's important to note this, that's why we had this delay. There was no pressure. It was just following the process. And this is also a call to young people to always have hope, to allow the process to play out. Let's trust the process. There was no pressure. It was just following the usual process. Thank you.
Yeah, so that doesn't remove the fact that Nigerians generally are struggling with to cope with the inflation. So I want to know whether you feel this pay bump, could lift their spirits or make them even more eager to serve, or is it just a small fix for a bigger problem?
So as you could see just 2 days ago when this payment started dropping, how excited people are. You can also see that this is an over 100%. It was 33 to 77, right? This is an over 100% increase, right? So I think that it is, first of all, the appropriate thing to do. It's a good motivation, and it shows that the president of this country cares for young people. Sometimes we come here, the minister is here speaking about the various programs the president had for young people, how the president wants the young people to thrive and is creating an enabling environment. And a lot of people, some people doubt. But this is a good example. It's a good pay, over 100%, and I think there is enough motivation and it's enough signal to tell every young person listening to me today that the president cares for you, and the Minister of Youth Development is working tirelessly to ensure that what is due you gets to you.
All right. The government has said that it is going to ensure that the backlog is paid. But the monies this corps members are receiving is just seemingly 77,000 naira alone. When will the backlog be paid? And those who have passed out, are they going to receive the backlog as well?
So the new DG of NYSC and the Honorable Minister of Youth Development have said that the backlog would be paid. Now, the same way they said by March this year, corpers are going to receive their 77%. So what I will tell everyone is let's trust the process. You know, with backlog, there's a lot of calculations, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done to ensure that if you're adding that to a previous, it is just for that previous and it does not then keep reoccurring in coming months, right? So what I will tell every young person, every youth corper listening to me today is let's be patient, let's trust our leaders, let's trust the process. I know that past administrations have promised and failed, and I understand the trust deficit, but this is a new administration. This is a talk and do administration. This is an administration you can trust. So just believe the process. As the DG NYSC, as the Honorable Minister of Youth Development have said, the backlog will be paid. I can assure you that the backlog will be paid.
Definitely, but in the matter of patience, you know, young people, they want a time frame for them to wait so that they can hold you to responsible or hold you to account when that time comes. So can you put a time frame to it? And again, I ask, those that have passed out, because some did their POP yesterday, will they also be receiving this payment of the backlogs?
So we are a ministry. I work for a minister that likes to keep to his word because I do not know the exact date. I can't say here, but once we are certain of that exact date, we are going to communicate to young people. What you can trust me is that it will be paid. But the exact date, once we get that exact date, we'll come back and communicate because we want to say this to young people and we can keep to our words. So at the moment, what I can tell you is that the backlog, as said by the DG NYSC, as said by the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, will be paid. Once we are certain of that date, we'll come back and tell young people so young people can continue to trust our word.
Yeah, so it's on that trust that I want to also ask you a question about, because before then, a lot of people were saying that yes, it is not going to come. It's never going to come because of the fact that the government will say one thing and another. Over the years, that trust deficit has been there. So do you feel that with this money coming at this time, it will further boost the morale of the NYSC, of the core members, and that ultimately they will begin to trust the government?
Yes, this is an era of renewed hope. Sometimes when we talk about renewed hope, people think it's rhetorics, right? This is a renewed hope. For the first time, we promised, and within a short time, remember when the budget was passed, and now the payment is coming, it means that when we say we'll do something, we will do it. And this is not just about youth corps, this is about every young person in Nigeria to trust this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to trust when the minister, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, speaks, that it will be done. And this is not just about the NYSC. We have a lot of programs we've taught, we've communicated to young people that they should expect. Is it the MIA, the Nigerian Youth Academy, One Youth Two Skills, the digital literacy for all, the confab that is coming that will say that every young person's voice will be heard? Is it about the programs we have about the youth help desk? I heard over the news how someone took his life. That person would have called the youth help desk at the Ministry of Youth Development and be able to connect it to maybe the mental health organizations we are working with to receive the care they need. So what we are saying is that we have a lot of programs for young people. Empowerment, the youth band that is coming. All this will come to pass. Just be patient, trust the process. We don't want a one-off stuff. We want something that is sustainable. So what I'm telling young people today is that trust the process, be patient, and trust your leader. This is a renewed hope agenda. This is a new administration. I know there has been a trust deficit, but keep hope alive with this new administration.
I like the keywords you are using: trust the process, and also have hope in this administration. But let's talk about sustainability that you've been mentioning, what government is putting in place to ensure sustainability of these funds, and also if the government is going beyond just monetary allowances to boost the welfare package of an average core member beyond monetary allowances. What else are we looking at?
So it's important to note that in terms of sustainability, if you want anything to be sustainable in terms of financing, any project, any policy, the most sustainable way is earmarking it in the budget. So that has been done, and that is why we waited. But then also, it's not just about the funds. There's a lot of programs that is going on. So one of them is that there'll be a revitalization of the NYSC to ensure that people are posted to where they are trained, where they went to, what they learned in school, so that it's more of an internship period. Also, we're coming up with a national youth internship program, so that when people finish their NYSC, they will have industry experience. We are starting with the energy and the ICT sector, working with Energy Commission of Nigeria and need that. So these are various programs that there's a entrepreneurial program where seed funds are provided for corpers who want to then go and be able to open a business of their own. So there's a lot of things planned for young people who are just leaving the NYSC, and this is just one out of the many. And this is a show of this shows that you can't trust the government. And when we say that we're going to bring national youth internship program, that is coming. When we're saying that we're going to create financial inclusion for young people, ability to be able to have seed funds through the youth bank, that is coming. All we're saying is that please trust the process, please be patient, please believe in this government.
So I want you to speak to the core members directly, because now every one of them seems to be happy, even though some will say, well, it's not going to cater for some of the financial challenges and obligations that they have. But as it stands now, it goes to show that they need to also learn prudency. How do you think they should go about this spending, apart from what they get from the federal government? Even some of them who work with government directly, state governments and schools, also get some stipends. How do you think they should manage this financial bolster that has been shown to them?
So one of the top entrepreneur in this country and the head of a bank once said that if you're being paid $1 or ₦1 and you're unable to save, even if you're paid $200,000 or 200,000 naira, you're not able to save. And also, just to also mention that the National Youth Service Corps, it's a period where you serve your country. So you should see this as a stipend, not as a payment. And it also calls for you to save. If you were managing 33,000 and you are now being paid 77,000, this is a call for you to then say, if I was surviving into 33,000, why don't I save the 30,000 naira or more on top of this money and then be able to manage myself and have some savings so that after the youth service period, you can able to start something, no matter how small. Some people started very small and today they are very, very big. So I think there is also cause for prudence. It calls for that habit of saving, that habit of delayed gratification, so that you're able to start up well after your service period. So I think that's a message I would pass to every young person. Do not see this right increase and an opportunity to spend all the resources, right? It's an opportunity for you to then begin to learn how to save, be prudent, and also have some delayed gratification while serving your country.
Interesting. All right, now are we looking at any policy or program that has to do with helping core members transition into the workspace, because it's a new ground that they'll be facing, a new opportunity, a new challenge, whichever way they want to see it. But is the NYSC, is the ministry that you're working with also looking at that process to help them transition perhaps smoothly and easily?
Yes, I'm aware of an NYSC program that starts around the 10th month out of the 12th month, where they begin to prepare the core members through communications on how to transition as they then leave NYSC to face the labor market. But also, as I mentioned earlier on, the government is about to launch a national youth internship program, because what we're seeing is that people come out from school, from NYSC, and they don't have the relevant industry skills and experience required to pick up the jobs, especially the jobs that are available. And what we're doing is that we want to then launch this National Youth Internship Program. In the coming weeks, that program will be launched, where young people will be selected who have just passed out of NYSC, who have fully completed NYSC. They'll be placed in industry. And this will not just be like any internship. The industry is expected to give periodic reports on how they are impacting skills and knowledge to this young person. And then also, there is also an innovation fund that will be given to a few who, after this internship, are able to be able to show that they've acquired skill and then want to go out there to practicalize those skills. So this is something the government is planning amidst other programs. As I mentioned, the NIA also is there to impact one youth, two skills. It's not just enough to get the skills from the classroom. What are all those practical skills you can get that will make you, that will help you, empower you beyond school? So these are plans and programs the government have, and all we are saying is that young people, please take advantage of this process, trust the process, and be patient and trust this government.
All right, we'll leave the conversation there. Dr. Obinna Ebirim, Senior Technical Advisor to the Honorable Minister on Youth Development. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
You're welcome.